Bill Bender, sportingnews.com, also on X as well, Bill Bender92. Bill, welcome in, sir. How are you?
I almost missed your call. I was watching Tiger Woods, and so I'm sure 40-something men like me, they just get lost when we start watching him. And all these years later, I still enjoy that first round of the Masters.
No, there's no doubt. We were talking about it yesterday, just kind of the betting lines for the Masters, and, of course, Tiger way on down the line. I said, I wonder how many people will take a flyer on Tiger just to hope that, hey, maybe he's got it one more time.
You know what? I think I can say this on here. I put $2 down on it just for fun. And, if he wins it all, we'll have a couple bucks, take the wife out for dinner, and go from there. But, it does give me incentive to watch. And he's just – it's still all these years he's the most captivating show in golf, which is very interesting.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. No doubt. Bill, O.J. Simpson obviously passes yesterday, and you kind of look across the sports world and mixed messages. Obviously, we know everything about his life, but it seems like a lot of people are trying to it's hard to kind of find what to say. But when you look at O.J. Simpson, I mean, there's the football side and the sports side. There's the personal side that was obviously a disaster and everything that went on off the field. What do you actually, when you hear O.J. Simpson and do you hear that name, is it forever going to be everything with what happened off the field, or will people remember on the field?
Well, it depends on the generation.
Yeah.
So if you're like I said, you're 44 like me, it's less, you really didn't get to see him play, or you don't really remember him playing for the 49ers. It's more actor and Bronco chase and the trial. And for guys that were my dad's age, I remember my dad telling me that, hey, man, O.J. was one of the best college football players I've ever seen. And then you take that to Buffalo, and then his later life obviously became a little bit of a circus. But I don't think O.J., we were talking about this in our office today, I don't think O.J. hits that younger generation quite like he hits ours, because I just think, it's almost like you had to be there to experience the Bronco chase and the trial and the mass media that surrounded his life. Very complicated thing. But I'll probably watch O.J. Made in America again as a result.
Yeah, look, when I was in college, I was a freshman, or maybe I was right. I can't remember. We had a Comp 1 or Comp 2 class. It was a summer class. The entire class was writing assignments on that whole trial. Like, I remember it like it was yesterday. It's crazy.
Oh, yeah. And I remember the Bronco chase from the standpoint of, I mean, could you imagine? I can't imagine in the social media age of today if they broke in on an NBA Finals game to follow somebody like that. That's how big of a story it was. It really transcended sports, culture, entertainment. It had all of it. And as my wife liked to point out, I mean, the ripple effects went down all the way to the Kardashians to the present day. It's really a wild story.
Bill Bender on your radio, Thursday edition of the program. Make sure to find him on X at BillBender92. Check him out at thesportingnews.com and also on X as well. All right, John Calipari with one of the funnier, I don't know if you meant it to be, press conference lines last night. Said, hey, I met with the team. There is no team. How quickly can he get Arkansas turned around, and do you expect him to make a massive impact in Fayetteville?
I think a fresh start, it makes it really interesting. I mean, I got back from the women's Final Four on Sunday night, told the story that he went to Arkansas. I had to rub my eyes, make sure I wasn't hallucinating from the long drive. It was a very wild story. I think it's great for college basketball in terms of gives us a really good storyline to follow. It's going to be really interesting to see who Kentucky hires back. But Jake, I can't lie. Like, when I saw him in that red quarter zip, I didn't know what to think of it. It still looks weird.
It does look weird. All right, so it looks like Hurley is not going to entertain Kentucky. Others are not as well. Which direction do they eventually go, you think?
Yeah, I thought Scott Drew would have been the right fit. It's not too much, not too little. So I don't really have a feel for where they go from here. I mean, I suppose they could go down the alma mater list and go after somebody like a Mark Pope or somebody in that vein. But I thought Nate Oates would have been an interesting candidate. For all that the ups and downs of the last 2 years at Alabama, from the mess with Brandon Miller to the Final Four run this year, I mean, he's kind of been able to weather that, right? So I don't know if he could handle coaching at a place like Kentucky. That's just it. You got to find the right guy that can handle Kentucky, the players, and Kentucky, everything else.
What do you make of Dan Hurley? Back-to-back championships now at UConn. The guy's got swagger. He's got the look. He's very animated. He looks like he knows how to navigate in this name, image, and likeness era in basketball, which you can make an argument, I think, that it's even more difficult than football. In the fact that, they'll be maybe one of the favorites next year.
Yeah, I mean, East Coast guy and doing the things that he's doing. They just so impressive the way that their game plan against Purdue was smart. They let Zach Edey do what he did, and Purdue only made one 3-pointer. I thought Purdue had to make at least 10 3-pointers to win that game. East Coast guys, so like a Midwesterner like me, obviously he rubs some of my friends the wrong way, but I don't think he cares. He's good for the game. There's no debate right now that he's the best active coach in the game, when you consider that the only other coach with multiple natties at his school is Bill Self, and the only coach with multiple natties in the sport right now is Pitino, which, by the way, what are the chances he would go to Kentucky? It would be amazing if he did. I don't think it's going to happen. But that's the class that Hurley's in right now.
Let me ask you this. The second transfer portal window opens Monday. We'll go for 15 days, and it will be a very, very hot time. So you look at some teams like Alabama, possibly need to making some moves. Maybe Miami. You look at Washington, USC, Michigan. Would you expect? We saw Colorado last year. Deion Sanders really flipped that roster in the second portal window. Do you expect to see a team or two with not Colorado movement, but with some big movement?
Well, I mean, Michigan, it'll be interesting to see if these are the quarterbacks they're going to ride with into the regular season. Ohio State's going to have some changes on their roster if they have already. I mean, I think quarterbacks are so interesting. Which ones go in the second wave? Because I put together a Big Ten quarterback preview for next year. And before this second window opened, they have 9 of their 18 are transfers. So, I mean, we know, you and I both know this is the way the game has gone. It's not going that way. It has gone that way. So I anticipate there'll be some more changes along the way.
Let's finish it up with the National Football League. I'll try to grab you before the draft as well, or right after the draft. Obviously, every year is a new crop of quarterbacks. We, always talk about the crops, and can this be that special group? You look at Caleb Williams, looks like he's slotted for 1. Maybe a Drake May or Jalen Daniels at 2 and/or 3. J.J. McCarthy's moved up. Bo Nix. Do you think the draft, at least at face value at quarterback, is as deep as it looks like potentially? Or, is this just, again, another instance of you got to have a quarterback in the NFL and there's some guys that people are just going to reach for?
Yeah, I think it's more of the latter. I mean, I'm not talking down about any of these guys. I just think that Caleb, Drake, Jaden, JJ, they'll all be first-round picks. Michael Penix will probably get drafted in the first round, and maybe Bo Nix. And some of it is need. Some of it is, just what they're worth. Quarterbacks, that's how the draft works. J.J. McCarthy is going to be very interesting. I don't think there's any doubt in my mind Caleb Williams will go first. But if somehow J.J. McCarthy is drafted ahead of Jaden and Drake, I mean, that would be the first kind of wow moment of the draft. And like you said, any of those guys could go in any order. I don't know how many are going to be long-term franchise quarterbacks, and that includes Caleb Williams, but I know they're going to get drafted in the top 10.
Make sure to find them at the Sporting News, and, of course, check them out on X at BillBender92, also Sporting News as well. Bill, thank you so much. Look, enjoy the Masters. Maybe Tiger can make that run this weekend.
I hope so. Thanks so much for having me, and I'll talk to you before the draft.